Hi everybody, it's time again to release some more free downloadable XML files for those of you out there who want to mod your DayZ private servers for PlayStation, Xbox, console. These will work for PC as well. I'm using a Nitrado private server in this particular case. But yes, they're here. So the theme for the next season in my private servers is Let's Build. And what I wanted to do was to give the members of my private servers more resources to build. Not make it too easy, but make it a lot easier. So what I've basically done is added the big change this time is added lots of Ada 4x4s that have stuff in the boot, lots of building stuff in the boot. Now, if you want to get stuck in straight away, if you go to the description below the video on YouTube, you've got to be watching this on YouTube, you'll see a link to GitHub. Because instead of using Google Docs, I've decided to try and start doing it properly. So, and GitHub is a repository for code. And then under, if you scroll down, what you'll see is you want to read the first bit, which is the PVE Let's Build DayZ mod files changelog and terms of use. So click on that and you can read about the changes, which I will be going through as well. And then the files that you're going to be installing on your private server are CVG event spawns, CVG spawnable types, events, mapgroup proto, and types. And you know, you're probably familiar with where they are now. But basically, if you go into your if Nitrado, for example, if you're working on console, and you go to your file browser, and then you go to DayZ PS missions, DayZ offline Chernarus plus. You'll want to stop your server. You'll want to download the CVG files that are on here, and you want to back them up. And quite simply, you download the files from GitHub. And then you just hit upload and you upload them over the top of the files in here. Then you go to DB, and then the two files there that you go over are events and types. Once you've done that, you can restart the server. Now, I would advise that you do this after a fresh install. So wipe everything and start again. If you do it without doing a fresh install, the changes will take effect. But it might take quite a while for them to take effect. But what are those changes, I hear you saying? what are those changes, Rob? Right, okay, so another warning, you know, if you do install these mods, these XMLs, they may well break your server. And these files, they're designed just to work on Chernarus. I had done a little bit for Livonia, which I'll talk about in a minute. They're designed just to work on Chernarus, and we did play test them for a number of weeks on DayZ on PlayStation, and everything seemed to be working okay. Couldn't really find anything that was going wrong, but you know, who knows. These were also tested on DayZ version 1.07. Now remember, we have got DayZ 1.08 coming out in the next few weeks, so when that happens, these files will then be out of date. Specifically, I'd imagine the ones that will be out of date will be the types file, because more types will be added probably as part of that update. We're getting more guns. Probably the events file as well, and probably the spawnable types file. They'll be out of date. So I may well, if I've got the time, then do an update, or I'll update the files. We'll have to see. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. So here we go. So read through the terms of use. So the changelog. Here we go. More building tools spawn in. So the Ada 4x4s, the little Jeeps, spawn in with base building tools in the boot, including a watchtower kit, a fence kit, and lots of nails. I've also made it so that when items spawn in the world, they spawn in basically pristine. There's one more bear spawn and one more wolf pack spawn. There's 6 heli crashes instead of 3, and there's a chance that some of those heli crashes, instead of being helicopter crashes, will be the C-130 cargo plane. The dynamic loot events which happen with those helicopter crashes, that, you know, the weapons that come with there, so the LAR, the VSS and the VSD, including mags and ammo, have been increased, and they're only counted on the map, not on the player, so there should be more of those around. Still not many. They're still very, very rare, those things. As I said before, so there's more Adas spawning in, but when you find an Ada, the little Jeep, it will have tyres, radiator, battery, spark plug, and it will also have a jerry can of fuel in the boot and loads of building stuff. So what you need to do is you take the jerry can of fuel out, you fuel it up, you then take that jerry can to the nearest river or pump, fill up with water, go back, and then you've got a working aider. Now, the aider 4x4 spawns are greatly increased, and I mean greatly. There's basically almost one aider for every spawn point. So all you've got to tell your members to do is just to go on the I Survive map, go up to the bit that allows you to choose which loot you can look at on the I Survive map, and just choose the aider 4x4, and they'll probably only have to hit 1, 2, or maybe even 3 before they'll find one of these aiders, and they can drive it very, very carefully to where they want to have their base. Compass spawns and nails increased by 1/4. Duct tape, sharpening stones increased by 1/4. Water bottles and canteens increased by 1/4. Increased the number of axes a little bit. Mozans, SKS, and the ammo now spawns in towns and villages, so they should be a little bit easier to find. And they spawn in with scopes already on them, but they don't spawn in with ammo in them. You've still got to find the ammo for those. The submachine guns now also spawn in police stations and fire stations, and they're all 1, 2, and 3, so you find them in various military places. And the attachments, though, haven't been changed, so they'll spawn in with the random attachments that you get, but the attachments will still be, you know, in higher-end military places. And I've also increased the number of those that spawn in, including the magazines. M4, A1s, AK-74s with their ammo and mags are now tier 1, 2, and 3 in terms of military gear, so you'll find them closer to the coast. But again, the attachments, the random attachments that are on them, say suppressors and scopes and stuff, will just be, I think, 2 and 3. And I've increased the number of M4, A1s and AK-74s that spawn in. All coloured and black variants of the AKs and M4s now spawn in, as well as coloured and camo Mozans. They stay at tier 3 and 4 though. All coloured and black variants of attachments now spawn in. They're still tier 3 and 4, so again, that's military stuff further away from the coast. Magazines spawn in with significantly more ammo. Basically, they should be full or virtually full every time you pick one up. And if a gun takes a magazine, it will always spawn in with a magazine in it, so it's ready to go. And then there's lots of there's other stuff as well that aren't in the notes that's there. So most of this stuff is exactly the same as last season. The big change is the aiders spawning in. So for example, on my servers, hopefully we're going to have a 6-month run now. So I normally do a reset and wipe every 3 months. We're going to have a reset every 6 months. The only catch to this, as I said before, will be update 1.08. You know, who knows what happens with that. If we have to do a wipe, we'll have to start again. At the least, I'll have to do some work updating the types files and the spawnable types file and the events files. So that, if you fancy having a go with this, again, it's all free. Just download it. Again, go over to GitHub, and you'll see all the files here: event spawns, spawnable types, events, map group, proton types. Again, these are just for Chernarus. Now, for Livonia, which I like leaving pretty much as vanilla on my servers, so it's more of a challenge. You know, Chernarus is our sandbox, it's our playground. You know, it's still difficult to survive, you know, for that first hour, but you know, there's a little bit more food, there's a little more stuff on there. Livonia is still hard, but what I've done is, if you click on this where it says branch and go to Livonia, there's three files. There's an event spawn file, spawnable types, and an events for Livonia. Now, you'll have to download these and change the name. You have to get rid of the Livonia at the front. And what these give you are the aiders full of all that building stuff on Livonia. I've matched the number of aider 4x4 Jeeps spawning in to just below, by 1 or 2, the total number of possible spawn points for those vehicles on Livonia. So again, if you use the I Survive map, just pick out the aider, and you might have to visit 1 or 2 potential sites, and you'll find one of those vehicles. It'll have the fuel in the back, it'll have all the building stuff. You fill it up with fuel, take the jerry can, fill it up with water, and then you'll have a vehicle that you can drive. So I wanted to do that because, I don't know, I might fancy trying to build a base on Livonia or something like that. Now, so there we go. There's the files that you can use. Please download them, change them, do whatever you want with them. You know, you know that this is all free stuff for everybody to use. But as I say, if you are watching this any time after sort of late June 2020 onwards, and we're up to 1.08. Again, if I haven't updated these files, be very careful, because what will happen is, if you update to these types.files, you'll lose the new weapons that or any new items that have been included with the latest update. But as for now, they're there, they're ready to use, and yeah, please go for it. So if you found the video useful, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more of the same, put your comments down below, and of course, I'll see everybody out there in Chernarus or on Livonia. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again soon.